Borna Boy, one of Nigeria's biggest music stars, stood at a press conference in Lagos, surrounded by flashing cameras and buzzing reporters. The room fell silent as he leaned into the microphone. "Today," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion, "I'm donating every naira I earn from my upcoming concerts to Captain Ibrahim Traoré and the people of Burkina Faso. This money will support their efforts to build a stronger, self-reliant nation and a stronger Africa." The announcement exploded like a bomb. Social media lit up within minutes. Some people called him a hero. Others accused him of supporting a military leader with a controversial reputation. But Borna Boy didn't back down. He believed this was bigger than fame, bigger than politics. It was about rewriting Africa's story. Borna Boy, whose real name was Oluwabori Adeyemi, hadn't always been rich. He grew up in a cramped apartment in Ibadan, Nigeria, where his mother sold fried bean cakes, akara, by the roadside to pay for his school fees. His father, a teacher, died of tuberculosis when Borna was 12 because the family couldn't afford proper medicine. Those early years stuck with him, even after he became a superstar. One night, after a sold-out show in Abuja, a young girl handed him a crumpled letter backstage. Her brother had been kidnapped by armed men in northern Nigeria, and her family had no money to pay the ransom. Borna Boy thought of his own childhood, the helplessness, the fear. He paid the ransom himself, but the moment haunted him. "What's the point of all this money?" he asked his manager Tunde. "If I can't fix the problems that keep us poor?" Tunde, a sharp-talking businessman who'd built Borna's career, shrugged. "You're a musician, not a politician. Focus on your next tour. Europe is waiting." But Borna Boy couldn't shake the feeling that his success meant nothing if his people kept suffering. Then, one day, he stumbled on a video of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso. Traoré, a soldier in a faded military uniform, was speaking to a crowd in a rural village. "We've been told Africa is poor," Traoré said, his voice fierce. "But our soil has gold, our sun can power cities, our hands can build nations. We don't need outsiders to save us. We need to save ourselves." Borna Boy replayed the clip. Here was a leader, flawed and unapologetic, who spoke like his father once had, with fire and pride. That night, he made up his mind. When Borna Boy announced his plan to fund projects in Burkina Faso, the criticism was immediate. "Traoré seized power in a coup," one journalist shouted at the press conference. "Are you funding a dictatorship?" Borna Boy stayed calm. "I'm funding schools, clinics, solar panels. If Captain Traoré uses this money to lift people up, I'll stand by that. If he doesn't, I'll call him out. But doing nothing, that's not an option anymore." Fans were divided. At his next concert in Lagos, some fans threw trash on stage, yelling, "Traoré's puppet." Others waved handmade signs that read, "Thank you for seeing Africa." Online, the hashtag number BORNABETRAYAL trended alongside number AFRICAFIRST. Tunde, his manager, quit. "You're throwing away millions," he yelled, slamming a contract for a European tour on the table. "No one cares about Burkina Faso. Make your money and shut up." But Borna Boy refused. He sold his luxury cars, moved out of his penthouse, and poured everything into organizing free concerts across Nigeria. "If you believe in this cause," he told crowds, "stand with me. If not, I'll still sing for you." A month later, Borna Boy landed in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's capital. The air was hot and dusty, and the streets buzzed with motorcycles and market vendors. Soldiers in mismatched uniforms patrolled the roads, their faces young and serious. Captain Traoré greeted Borna Boy in a small, plain office. Maps of the Sahel region covered the walls, marked with circles and notes. Traoré wasn't what Borna expected. He was shorter, quieter, with rough hands and a scar on his cheek. "Your music," Traoré said in French, translated by an aide. "It reminds me of Thomas Sankara. He used to say culture is the weapon of the future. Borna Boy smiled. Sankara, Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader from the 1980s, was one of his heroes. My father played Sankara's speeches on a cassette player until it broke, he replied. The two men talked for hours. Traore spoke about his plans, building solar farms to free villages from relying on foreign oil companies, creating a national mining company to keep Burkina Faso's gold profits in the country, training young people to fight extremism without foreign armies. The West calls me a dictator, Traore said, lighting a cigarette. But when their corporations take our resources, pay us pennies, and leave us with poisoned rivers, that is dictatorship. Borna Boy handed him a check for 1.2 billion naira, about $2 million. Traore stared at it, then chuckled. You know, they'll say I bribed you, or you're laundering money. Let them talk, Borna Boy said. Just build something that lasts. The money went to work quickly. In Dori, a sun-scorched town near the Sahara, workers installed rows of solar panels that glowed like mirrors under the blazing sky. For the first time, the local clinic had reliable electricity. Nurses could refrigerate vaccines, power surgical lights, and run fans to cool patients in the 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit heat. Borna Boy visited the clinic months later. A nurse named Aminata showed him a newborn ward where mothers no longer had to give birth by flashlight. Before, we lost babies when the generator died, she said, her voice cracking. Now, we've had 0 deaths this month. In the village of Kongusi, the funds dug new wells and built a school with thick concrete walls to keep out the desert wind. Kids in faded uniforms scribbled notes in notebooks stamped project funded by Borna Boy and African brothers. Not everything was perfect. Some money vanished into bureaucratic pockets. A local official in Ouagadougou was arrested for stealing supplies meant for the solar farm. Critics posted videos of soldiers harassing farmers during land seizures for a new road. Borna Boy's team publicly demanded answers, and Traore's government reluctantly punished the offenders. It's messy, Borna admitted in a radio interview. But show me a country that's ever changed without mess. News of Borna Boy's gamble spread across Africa. In Kenya, a reggae artist pledged 10% of his tour earnings to a Kenyan-run hospital. In South Africa, university students launched a number sign, My Africa, My Responsibility campaign, volunteering to fix water pipes in townships. But the most surprising twist came from Europe. A famous British rapper who'd once mocked African leaders in a music video invited Borna Boy to London. I thought Traore was just another tyrant, the rapper said on stage. But you made me see the bigger picture. Colonialism never really ended. It just put on a suit. He donated $100,000 to Borna's fund, sparking a wave of small donations from Europeans and Americans. Back home, Nigerian politicians squirmed. How had a musician done what they'd failed to do for decades? Unite people across borders? Suddenly, senators who'd never set foot in Burkina Faso were tweeting about Pan-African solidarity. Borna Boy laughed. Hypocrites, he told his band. But if it gets more kids fed, let them tweet. On the night of his final free concert in Lagos, over 50,000 people packed the stadium. The stage was simple, no fireworks, no glitter, just a massive screen showing photos from Burkina Faso. Smiling kids at the new school, nurses holding solar lamps, farmers harvesting millet under Traore's new irrigation systems. Borna Boy sang his hit songs, but the crowd grew quiet when he paused to speak. They told me music can't build a nation, he said, sweat dripping down his face. But what's a nation if not its people? You! He pointed at the crowd. You're the architects, the doctors, the teachers. I'm just a man with a microphone. But together, we can rewrite the story they forced on us, that Africa is broken, begging, lost. The crowd erupted. A group of teens near the stage unfurled a banner. "Borna boy, you are the voice." As he left the stage, a journalist asked him, "What's next? Will you go into politics?" Borna boy shook his head. "My job is to sing, to wake people up. The rest?" He nodded at the crowd, still chanting his name. That's their job now. Captain Traore's government still faces challenges: protests over corruption, clashes with extremist groups, and droughts worsened by climate change. But the solar farms now power 20 villages, and Burkina Faso's new mining company has doubled workers' wages. Borna boy still performs, but he's no longer Africa's biggest star. He's its most respected. Young artists send him demos with lyrics about solar panels and unity. A documentary about his Burkina Faso project won awards in Cannes. One evening, as Borna boy sat on a rooftop in Accra, Ghana, watching the sunset, his phone buzzed. It was a photo from Dory, Aminata, the nurse, holding a healthy baby girl named Bori, after him. The caption read, "She is our future." He smiled, saved the photo, and texted his new manager, "Book me a show in Dakar. Let's keep building."